Good morning, trader. Welcome to Daily Webinar. It's a new week and it's a new start. So let's hope this week is going to be amazing. Last week was mixed. We had traders who actually made good. Some traders made more than 5%. Some traders were slightly positive and some traders who took losses, depending on whether you were trading the news with us or not. We got some losses in the news that were, some of them were not of our cause, simply because some broker was dishonest, but it happens. So that's a reality. Let's go with there. This week, we're going to try to control that period of time trading because we understand how some brokers work with it and we're going to manage it so we don't get into that issue again. Close all the trades before the news if you're in one of such broker, and then we will manage it from there. I think this week we have some really good setting. Last week there was a lot of consolidation happening in the higher time frame. Most of them turn out to be what we expect them to be, how we see the patterns. So hopefully we can get it good. Once again, good morning. This will be out on YouTube. So it will be the weekly analysis in YouTube. For those people watching in YouTube, those traders watching in YouTube, next week, from next Monday to next Friday, I'll be doing live sessions open to the public, which means you will get access to our trading room where we are right now. We trade about 5 times a day. You will get access 2 times. We'll give you the access to the New York session and the London session. It's going to be 7:45 London, 7:45 New York session. The link for that will be in a separate video just after this video. So if you follow this video and you set up your subscription and you set up the notification, you're going to get the link in that. It's going to be a short 10-15 minutes video where I'll explain what you will get, how it's going to work, and what you should do. So please register and share the link. When that link is out, when that YouTube video is out, share it to as much traders as you possibly know. And you can also share this one to as many traders as you know, because it might help you to understand what we do. And if you like it, you might be able to use it to make money. Right? Basically, that's the rule. Let's go. So we always start with dollar index. Like I said last week, if you were following me, we were in consolidation and we're at the top. We don't know for a fact that this is the top as yet. And that's the weekly top I'm talking about, weekly, yearly top. We don't know that for a fact. Remember what I said, you would have to get a daily consolidation. And if that confirms the drop beyond this point, then we're good. The problem with this one is the depth of the pullback. When I said daily consolidation, I mean something like this within this range, not going back to the top. That doesn't mean that this cannot drop through the bottom. It doesn't mean that. But what it means is that when that happens, you have 2 options open. You have the option that this is going to come here, but the chances are it can get back to the top, make a new high, because we would look at this as a possible flat. That possibility just opened up because of the depth of this pullback. Now, if this pullback was in this range, I would pretty much be saying we're going down totally, right? That would be the start of the bigger yearly downtrend, and we will absolutely be going with that. But because we are at the top here now, I'm thinking, well, okay, there is a possibility, but even if it's going to go back to the top and this is coming down, it will have to come to this level, make a flat pattern, and then go. So if we get sell setups today, we'll take the trades. Now, what are the chances that it actually does not come down? You have to answer. So you said it's going to drop. What if it doesn't drop? What if it actually stays here and do something like this, do something like this, and do something like this? And you can see that what I drew there is patterns that we recognize clearly. If this makes a flat here, then we would assume if we see this consolidating back to the top here, making a flat, then the analysis I just gave you for the downside has changed. What it has done is making a big flat here with an impulse coming into it. So you'll have to get an impulse going out of it, and very likely we'll break this top. And if we break that top, we will still come back here, right? They still do come back when they break the top, but that would be more of a running flat pattern and then one more up. That will confirm one more up, at least one more up. So if we get a break of this top, we'll confirm that. Now, we don't know whether that is going to happen. As far as we're concerned, this is good to drop. If we get sell setups here, we will take them. When it breaks this low, we'll get that into positive. That is called trade management. We'll try to control the trade to see that if it does go back up, we're out of the trade. But if it keeps dropping, we'll stay with the trade. Now, what if we don't get a sell setup and this one actually moves up higher? What if it moves up higher into this range? Well, we will make the conclusion that it's coming here, it's going there, and then it's going to come here and then go back there. Pretty simple. Once you see how the structure changes in the development, you already make that. So right now we're looking for sell setups. And I think on the 1 hour, we do have a sell setup here. So we have this is an early entry, right? We're taking this entry because we're assuming that it's going to drop to the bottom. Now, the 2 things you'd have to look for, you'd have to look for this. It could drop to this level and go back up. That will give you a flat. Take the trade, put it to break even. See, that's how we manage trade. We look at trades and we manage them depending on what it's doing. So can it go here? If we come back to this stop, guess what? We will still get sell setups here. We'll sell it, it will come to this level. Then we're going to go back up. We'll start buying this to the top, and then we'll get sells again to come back down. See? So within the day, the forecast that I'm giving you now can change. Right? Within the day. So as of now, the level pullback here is telling me that this is a good sell for downside. We will see how that changed within the day and within the structure itself, because we're in a consolidation. So right now it's a sell setup. By this afternoon, we'll figure out what it is. We will still sell it, right? So let's go. Silver, we saw the flat, and now again, there's two options. Remember I said, if they come here and they start to drop, we'll expect them to break the low, right? This can come and break the low. But you have to look at it possibly that this one is relatively sharp. It's not really thin, it's relatively sharp. So sometimes you do get flats that look like this, kind of like this, right? So you will get a 1, 2, 3 up, you get a 1, 2, 3 down. This could come a little more here, probably go back up to the top and then drop. A lot of the crosses do have that. If we see that, it will still come break the low, but then we'll be looking for the upside, right? We can still come and break the low, but then we're looking for the upside. Now, could it be that this is the turning point and we are actually going up from this point? That is okay. It's possible. So if we get a buy setup here today, we'll take the trade, but we'll also be aware that, well, it might just be, if you get a small, it might just come here and then come back down here, do something like this, make another flat drop again, right? See this one, you bought it. That was a buy. You closed the trade because it didn't go. So we're looking at that possibility that this looks like an upside right now. It's not a trade setup as yet. We don't have a reason to buy this yet, but if it makes a good consolidation here, we will put it buy. Now, what are the chances they can tag you and pull back? That happens a lot and happens to most traders, especially if you don't know what is going to happen next, you start to panic. Well, we know what's going to happen next. Most of these trades we can get out for break even if that happens. Now, in this case, I don't think it's going to happen because even if they tag you here and pull back, then the chances are this would make a consolidation, go back up there, make a flat and then drop, right? So if you got tagged in here and it pulled back, it's going back up before it comes down, you get a flat and then it dropped, right? So if you understand that, then you will know how to manage your trades as you go along. I think we'll be looking for a buy setup here. We're looking for a sell in the dollar index. We're looking for a buy. This one, for my traders, you can, if you want to get really aggressive, it's an active trade. It's not ready. You can see that this piece is now forming the consolidation here. Probably wait some more, let this come back because you kind of get this small one. I think this is too small a flat. So let this pull back, make a bigger one. And then we go with that flat. This is way too small. So let it pull back, make a good flat, and then we go for the buy. So we're looking for a buy setup here. I'll look for a buy setup. Let's go with gold. Okay, gold dropped. We broke the low, but then we have a sharp pullback here. So gold is already telling us that there's a very good chance we're going to go back down, right? This is your indication. You got a sharp move. You got to move down here. See the flat in the middle there. It's going. This is a move up, but it's very short-lived. We are going to drop again. So if you're going to take this trade here, you have to be aware that it's not going to go very high because we're going to come down one more. I don't see this taking off because this is the sharp one. Put in the 15, you'll probably see that. This is your sharp move up. It doesn't go with anything. I don't think we'll put it with this one. If we do put it with that one, let's say we decide that this is 1, 2, 3 to this level. Let's assume that this one came down really so well. Then yes, we can probably go up much more. Let's take the trade and manage it. There's a possibility. New Zealand had this pattern, right? But in New Zealand one, they came back above this top. In this case, they don't really have to go back because this would be an expanding flat. So this doesn't have to go back above the top. If we're looking at an expanding flat, it could come down from there. If we get a flag here, we'll buy it. We'll just manage the trade as we go along, right? So this is not really a good flag to buy. It's pretty small. If you take it now, you have to be very aggressive, right? If you want to put this in aggressive buy, you want to put the trade on now, I would say wait for a flag because this is a pretty sharp pullback. So wait for a flag here and then go for it. It will be more of an aggressive buy. This would have to come down to this level, right? If we're looking at this as an expanding flat. So we would leave it like this for now. I think we can leave it like this because there's a possibility you have a contracting flat in there. Both are very, very likely. So we'll keep an eye on this how this develop and then decide on the buy. On the big picture, that is actually a consolidation, right? We've got this sharp move up. This is still a consolidation downwards. So the buy is still a good one, which means it can go quite a lot. If we get a buy setup, we will take it and manage the trade as we go along. you're going to get a buy setup here. This is pretty easy. You can get aggressive if you want on this one, right? In this level, get to the top, put it to break even and see if this breaks out. Right? That's a breakout trade. That's a buy setup. You can get aggressive on the buy now. You can wait for it later. Let's go on the euro. So euro, we actually made it. I think we can go with this as a contracting flat here or running flat, depends on you break the low, because you've got a pretty sharp pullback. Now, if this was dropping like this, we'd assume that, you know, this is the expanding flat in here. We could have gone with that. But now that it's going up aggressively, we can always assume, well, are we going up from here to retest this top? I think that's a really good one. Let's see. Right now, it's not there as yet. And this looks a little downside, especially this piece. It's kind of going up like this. So I wouldn't buy it as yet. We'll wait for this. See if it drops, see how low it comes back into this, whether it's a flat. Because if they come back like this, then we will go back up there, drop. But if this takes off, let's say it's going very slow, but if it takes off, it would be a good trade. I wouldn't buy it because of these sharp pullback in here. We wouldn't buy it inside a consolidation. Let it break out, make a flag above, and then we buy. So if it's a big takeoff, then it's a buy. If it's making another flat here, let's assume that it goes really slow like this. It could still come back here. We'll probably put that as a flat, one more down, then go. So if you're going to buy, we want to see that sharp move, the flag, and then go, not this slow move here. So it looks like a buy right now. I would not put this sell as yet, even if it's a sell and they go back to this top here. This is a sell within this consolidation. So it's not a drop. I don't think it's going to drop to the bottom. We'll keep an eye on this. That's an open trade. Nothing is there. Pung actually could be a buy. And you actually have a buy setup here that's worth taking. All right, we have a buy setup here that's worth taking. We've got some nice consolidation here. I think you can see this. We've got some consolidation here. All right, so that is a buy. You can actually put that trade on. Put it just above the top now. So if it goes through, it goes through. I'll put it as an aggressive buy. Straight through. Now we're still in the consolidation, right? So we're hoping that this is the one that takes off, but this could probably just go here. I should have put this trade on, but again, like I said, this is part of why I can get all the trade. If I stop the webinar now, this is going to be on YouTube. I can't stop to do that. That'll take me about 10 minutes. I have to do the calculation of that. So you guys can put this on if you want, but remember, it could still be part of this consolidation, like go slow. Well, you know how to manage it. We have rules how to manage that, right? So I think this is a good one, basically. It's worth taking. We've got a flag and we've got this deep pullback. Even if they're going back just to the top to make a bigger flat here, you'll still get positive out of that trade. Well, let's see what happens when it comes to this top, right? If we're making a bigger flat here, if we're making a much bigger flat here, then they can work their way to the top there and come back here, make a big flat and then take off. Remember, this is your first impulse and this is an all-time low. All right, by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to know what we meant by that and what this means for trading itself, for your trading, if you want to know what that all-time low means for your trading, you may want to join us in those live sessions because you're going to get to understand what that means a lot. So let's see. I like this trade for the buy. Aussie. Aussie came down quite a lot. So we are open to two things. We're open to the fact that this is an expanding flat, or that there's a contracting flat in here, right? Which means after that we drop. I think the expanding flat is pretty good, which means I don't think this is going to go very far, right? Remember, even if we say this is an impulse, it has to break the low. Even if we don't take it as an impulse, and let's take this as the impulse, this is pretty sharp, right? So this will just go up like this, come back here, go back there, drop again, and then go. So by all means, we are coming to break this low, whether we're going to do it as a more complex pattern or right now. I think we go for the sell. Anytime we get this sell here, we take the trade. It's too early to call the sell. We're going up really slow, and it still probably could crawl up some more. If Pung is going to go up as slow as this is going to go up, we'll get rid of the Pung for break even, right? So you can see these small flags. They're going to go. They're going to do this. Let's see how high they do that, and then we're looking for the sell. So we're looking for a sell setup here. It's not active as yet, but we can wait for the setup, which means this is going to crawl up some more. Buy it to go back to the top, bad idea. Because you don't know where this stop and start dropping. Putting a sell entry on right now, that's a good idea. But we can wait for the better entry. But if you want to put a sell entry under here for now as an aggressive sell, I really don't want to do this in YouTube, but we would do this in trading, right? If you want to put an aggressive sell there, you know how to manage that trade, right? Some of these trades we can put out there. Because traders will take the trade not knowing how to manage it, and you guys can manage your trade. I think this one is pretty clear. This one, the conviction we had on Friday, for those of you who were in the room, right, that everything else had a possible contracting flat, but this didn't have one. There was no contract. There was nowhere I was going to accept it. And I said, look, I can't take this to be anything else. Because when this happened, we were like, okay, it should come back here. And then it went up a little more. I was like, you know, this still doesn't have a pattern. So let's just leave it open. It's proving we were right about what we talk about the pattern. And this is definitely going to break that low. Right? Because we don't have a contracting flat here. We had it, and I think the euro and a few more trades that did the same thing. We had the contracting flat. Aussie had a possible contracting flat. This one doesn't have. So there's a very, very high probability that this is going to break the low, right? Regardless of what happens here, there, you know, this might even break out here, go there, come back here. But we're looking for a sell setup. No buy setup in this. We're looking for a sell setup. Let's see if we get it. I put this wherever we get this sell. We'll decide where we take it. Don't put the entry under low. We could get it much better. We could get a better sell from the top. Once this break the low, that could be the lowest point, right? So if and when this breaks the low, hopefully today, it might break this. This is the daily low on the previous move way back, right? Daily, weekly low. So if we break this, then two things we can think, either total upside or running flat, which is upside still, right? And the weekly, that would still be upside. So break this low, don't break the low. Once you break this low, we'll start to look for the buy setup. So there's a trade for the sell, and then after that, we'll consider the buy. I think we could get a very good trade there for sell, an almost guaranteed trade. So let's work on that. We're waiting for the sell setup. Yen keeps going up. And again, I think I'm not liking how deep it's go because it's confusing me as to whether we should look for a contracting flat here, which I can't find, just like the New Zealand. If I can't find it, I'll tell you I can't find it. It's not fitting into everything. I looked at this over the weekend when I had some time, and I can't put a contracting flat in here no matter which combination I use. I just can't find a contracting flat in there. Now, I think one of our traders shows us this pattern that will remind us to look at the monthly, and we have come back to the first big impulse. We have to use the IDC. We came back to this stop. So we came back to this stop. Now, why that might be important? Well, if we're thinking running flat, if we're thinking running or expanding flat, and it's already expanding flat, that would be important. That would be really important if you're thinking expanding flat. If we're not thinking expanding flat, let's assume we're thinking, well, this was the low, and somewhere in here, this was probably a running flat or running flat here, and this was just a final move down. This could be a separate consolidation of its own, just starting with the first impulse, right? But the idea of a running flat or expanding flat here is very, very tempting because of this consolidation in here. I think we know that when we see this, and we see this could be a separate, smaller consolidation of its own, right? They had a few like that before. Inside, there's a lot of consolidation on a lower degree. But this makes sense, except that we still have to come back and find that contracting flat here for 1, 2, 3. Well, beats me. We'll figure that out afterwards. Maybe it's a totally different pattern that we have not been identifying. We'll come back to that later. Keep an eye on it. Always keep an eye on things like that we can come back to and see, well, what is the pattern inside? How would we look at it if this turns out to be an expanding flat? Because we still have to identify what that corrective structure is. We got it partially correct, put it that way. So we got this correct, at least coming back to this stop, maybe even breaking this stop, but going that much, no, that I didn't expect that to happen. So now we will go back and study this pattern and see where there's something specific about it that we haven't been identifying before. And that's the learning process. And that is why being in this room is so amazing, because the learning curve never stops. You're going to keep learning, and you're going to find something new. Every now and then you'll come up with something new that you haven't been identifying. Not it exists. It's just that we haven't been putting it to something in the past and identifying it with something in the future, which means we have not been identified as a specific pattern of its own. We have been trying to make it patterns that we know in the past, and it's not fitting. So we'll come back now, take snapshots of this specific pattern, go back in the past and look for them on all time frames. And if we see very similar behavior in the past with the time frame where we couldn't identify them, we'll say, okay, you know what, this probably is a pattern the way it develops. And in the future, we will know how to trade that specific pattern. That's what wave analysis is about. It's not about telling the chart what the chart has to do, right? And that's a vast difference between Elliott wave and what we do. we identify patterns and figure out how they behave. Elliott wave is saying, well, you have to have this WXY or the ABC, and they have to vary, and those are the rules in Elliott wave that I believe, well, they're obsolete. I don't think he's wrong. I think at his time, he looked at it the way he looked at it, and he came up with that, and that was amazing at that time. Changing structures and changing pattern will happen. Things are changing constantly in the world, right? Everything, the way we trade, the speed of trading, everything is changing. So patterns will change. It doesn't mean they wouldn't exist. It means they can vary from the way Elliott identified drawing charts by his hand, right? And the way people traded that time, a couple hours, and that's what it is. Now trading goes on 24/7. Right? Cryptos go through all during the week. You know, trading never stops, put it that way. Right? There's a world that is moving faster, so we can identify different patterns. We'll come back and we'll look at that. It is a consolidation. It's just not the type of consolidations we would see. So if it starts to drop from this point, we would make an assumption that this is an expanding flat and we're coming down. Now, how far can that expanding flat go? Quite a lot. Do I think that this could come back very much to the top here? I don't think so. I don't think the Japanese government want their currency to be that weak, right? Can they intervene and stop it? Probably. Will they intervene and stop it? Maybe not. We don't know that, and we don't care about that. We're looking for a turning point, because what we know, for example, is that even if they drop this much, they will pull back somewhat. Even if you drop this much, you'll pull back somewhat. Now, we're not really gone that far as yet, but we're kind of in this sideways move. So we will buy every buy that we have, but the minute we see a turn for a sell, we'll take it. Once a sell appears, we will take the trade. Buys, you can still take. Like I said, you're taking the buys, but you have to be aware that the buys are much more aggressive than the sells. Now, there's a running flat here on Friday that I think we didn't get. There was a flag, there's a pullback here, a very strong pullback, right? This strong pullback that we don't have anything for. Kind of go up there and then it just climbs up. So at some point, you will get a sharp move down and you'll continue to go back up. Somewhere here will be a sharp running flat and they'll continue to go. So that is under 15 minutes, no need to worry. I don't think we'll, there's a few sharp pullback here, but they're too small to go with this. I really wouldn't put them as contracting flats. So can we get a drop from here coming down back? I think this is going to come back, but most likely because you're here, it's going to come back as a flat. Go one more, you could get a sharp drop and then you could continue to go, and this would be a perfect running flat. So this buy, you can take it, but again, it's at your risk. Would it do this? Would it do that? Or would it just break the top, pull back and then go? That's the question, right? So if you're going to take the trade, make sure you manage it properly. CAD dropped. The pullback is pretty deep, which is not good, which means the downside is still there, but maybe not as big as we think it could possibly be. So let's see. It's coming down. If you get sell setups, you can get aggressive on it because it's going to come back to this low. If we get a flag here, we could take it. This could go up a little more, but if it goes, it's just going to be within a flat pattern, right? So if we get a flag here for a sell setup, I think probably wait for a bigger one. If we get a good flag here for a sell setup, we can take that trade here, see if they go back up. If it continues to go up from here, we'll probably just ignore it until it gets to the stop and look for the sell. Right, so the sell setup, this would be a flat and we'll continue to go up, right, if that happens. If it comes back deep, well, this is still pretty deep. We'll sell it, but we'll still be aware that they could go back up. Right, the bigger picture of this, well, we're going up to break this top, very likely. I think the idea of a three-wave structure is already out because we've gone pretty much to the high point. So if we get sell setups here, they come back. Especially if it comes sharp, it could come deeper and start to make a bigger running, a bigger flat before you get there. Right, the possibility of a bigger flat is still open. Right, they made one here, so they can make a few more and then get to that top. Let's see, we're going to assume that this is making a flat here. That's the assumption that we're making a flat for upside. We'll start with that assumption and then we'll see how this piece changes. Swiss, well, we likely will go break the top because it looks like this might be the flat. Like, I think you can still make an argument for a contracting flat in this one. I think that would fit if this is the downside. But look at the depth of this pullback. So I don't think it's the downside. I think we're pretty much, we could go with this as the 1, 2, 3, and this will probably break the top. If we get a buy setup here, we'll take it. If this decides to go back up, that would be a good buy setup to at least make one more impulse there. If it comes down from there, we'll assume we're making a flat in here. So I don't think we'll get a sell setup here because it just needs to come to this level, break this level, go back up. you'd have to have a very good flag to sell it. And there isn't a good flag to sell it. This is too small. That can just break this low and go right back up. Right? This looks more like a buy setup to me. Even if it drops, well, you don't know that. And trying to sell is hoping a drop will get you in trouble because this is the move and we're back at the top there. So let's wait and see. We'll keep an eye on this. There's no good setup here, and we can start selling because we haven't broken that top. So we need to break the top, come back sharp, and then decide that it's going to make a big drop. Euro yen still going up. You can look for buy setups here. Any short-term buy setup would be good. We don't have any. There was one this morning. That's gone. There was a small flag here. That is gone already, and it's going up really slow. If it makes another flag here, we can take this trade. It's going to probably make a few flags until it breaks that up, and then we'll start to look for the downside. On the big picture, that should complete this big flat. All right. Now, the question is whether we're going to break this top. If we break that up, it's going to be a running flat. I don't know that. We'll trade it up slowly and see whether it breaks the top. The possibility is it could break that up, make a running flat, and then pull back here and then go right. I think we can make an argument that this is going to be, if you break the top, we're going to come back here. Whether we break the top or not, we're coming back here and going back up. I think that is pretty clear. This is the sharp move up. This would be the correction. We'll go back up. So I don't think we'll go with this as the correction. This one is way too sharp and it's a single wave. So most likely you will, you'll probably just go there, come back here and then go. So this is very likely going to happen. Keep an eye on it. There's a buy setup forming right now. And you still have buys. You will definitely break this top and you might break that top. Right? So there's a possibility to break that up as well. Pang yen. Yep, there is a buy setup here. I think, okay, that's gone as well. There's a very small one here. If it pulls back for running flat, take the trade. There's a lot of pullback here, so there's not necessarily this one will pull back. This might go with one of those in the north. But if it does pull back like this, we'd assume that that is a running flat and take one more trade up. We're going to break that top as well. Pretty sure about that. When we break that top, how far this goes, well, we don't know that, but it could go. It could go quite a while. So we'll assume that any buy setup we get, we'll take it. So you're looking for buy setups here. You're looking for buy setups here. Swiss yen. I don't think this need to break the top. We don't really need to break the top unless we're looking for a contracting flat. If we break that top, we will take this as a contracting flat. Right? We'll take this piece here as a with 1, 2, 3 in there, and this one here down. Right? That sharp drop. Right now we're taking it as part of the consolidation. So if we break this top, we'd assume that's a contracting flat. We'll still look for the sell, and we're assuming that we're going to get this sell. If it turned out we only get this here and start to go back up, well, then it's going to be a running flat, and this would be part of the consolidation. It could be both right now. So you can make an assumption that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, which means this is the flat in the middle, and you have 1, 2, 3 contracting there. This goes up, right? You can make that assumption. You can simply make the assumption that this is 1, 2, with this being 1, 2, 3. Go back to the top, come back here, go back, and then come. But you either have to come down here first to go back up, or this will totally drop if we assume that that is a contracting flat. Both of those are very, very likely possible because you have a lot of sharp waves in here. Now, what we're sure about is this is the impulse. So this is still the correction. It goes up higher, we look for sell setup. Can we buy into that? Let's see in the 1 hour, we have any buy remaining? Not really. It might break this top. I don't know how far they're going to go after they break the top. If you get a really good flag, this is gone. Whatever this was, I think you can make an argument for some kind of a running flat in there. But that's gone. So any flag here would give you a trade to the top. We need at least a 1 hour flag because you're way at the top there. And if it just go break the top, then let's look for the sell. Ignore this piece and look for the sell. But if it gives a flag, you will get a single trade because we don't know how high above this it's going to go, right? It could go quite a lot. It could even come back all the way to this top. That would make a bigger running flat, right? So the single pattern is this one. If we go back all the way to the top there, all we're going to do is come back here, make a flat, and make one more high. We know that Euro yen is going to come down and go back up, right? Euro yen is in a big flat. Is this going to repeat the same thing like the Euro yen? Possible. So if it keeps going up there, we should buy. Any flag we get, we should take the trade. Just manage it carefully. That's all. So we'll come back to this. We can look for short-term buy setups. I don't really think it's a good best one to buy. Euro yen is a better one to buy, but if you get a trade here, take it. New Zealand yen. Okay, so we were expecting this to go up, break the top, or break this top. We don't necessarily have to break that top, but we have to come back and break this low, right? Because we are assuming that this here is a very big flat. 1, 2, 3. And we could come here and then go back up. Now, in some cases, you do have a very, very big flat at the bottom here, not breaking the low, but this just keeps going up. So if we get buy, we'll assume that that is the big flat. For upside, if we get sell setup, we'll assume they're going to break the low again, because both of those are true, right? In this case, this is a really big flat. I don't think this one is actually trying to go up. Right? It doesn't really look like they're trying to go up with so much consolidation in the bottom here. Looks like we might break the low. We don't have anything here to sell or buy, so let's wait. Go into 15. Yeah, nothing. This was kind of a flat here, but then it did this and it broke the low, so that is out. That's gone. We're kind of getting a short one here, but you're inside of this, right? You got 1, 2, 3. You get this. You get 1, 2, 3. You're here. Can we assume that this is it and we're going up? Well, buying this one here is a little dangerous inside of this, right? So let's wait and see. And let it become a bigger flag here. If this becomes a bigger 1 hour flag, we'll buy it. So if this turns out to be more of a bigger 1 hour flag here, we'll buy it back to the top here. And then we will see if we continue to go or if we come back here. Because if you come back here, you make another flat and you continue to go like this. See? So then you'll get another flat like this and you continue to go. So if we get this flag here and it has to be as like this, a bigger one, we can buy this to break the top. Make another one, you can buy it, you can close it for break even, reverse, see if we get a sell, and then go back up. So we know we're going to get 1, 2, 3. Depends on what this piece does. Wait for it. Wait for the 1 hour flag. It doesn't make sense buying this small one. So I will not put buy setup because it's not really an impulse to the upside as yet, but we'll keep track of that. CAD yen, look for sell setup. I don't care how high this thing go. Look for sell setups. It's too much of a sell opportunity. Right, I would rather be wrong on it going up by the euro yen than by the CAD yen, because this is where you are, right? Now, it doesn't mean you can't push a little more. Right, this is the impulse. We can push back all the way to the top of that impulse. But for me to start buying it, we have to break out of this structure completely, make a correction like this here, and I mean more of a 4 or 1 hour correction, big 1 or a good 4 hour correction, then I'm going for this trade. At the top of this, a little flag is a bad idea. Not that this doesn't go, but the risk is too much. So there was a flag there this morning, maybe. The risk of buying that is way too much. Let's see in the 15 minutes. Actually, no, there wasn't. This is coming back down. We're now making that big flat. If this drops like this, see this one? I would take this as part of the correction. So you got 1, 2, 3, we're coming back here. This is going to drop. It is likely going to go back up. It's going to pull back. Well, if we see this, we start buying. If we see that, we start buying, because this buy would give you an impulse equivalent to this almost. And that means we're going to go much higher. So, yep, we'll probably climb much higher to the top. But if this proves what I just saw, if it proves that big flat, we can put 2 lines within it. You can draw it up if you want, right? Draw up. It broke the top, so that's already a running flat, right? So we're already assuming that it will be a running flat. Now, what if I'm wrong and this starts to drop? I don't see whereby, it starts dropping crazy. We don't even have a contracting flat in here. So I don't see anything else that could work there to make that possible. Let's wait and see. I would take off the line and put the range. I'm looking at the range as this is the first pullback. So we'll look at this range and see what it does within that range before we make a decision on any trade. But the upside looks more possible. Can we sell this to come back here, at least back to this low? Yeah, if you get a small flag, that's a good trade. What's the range? 7 to 9, you could get 30 pips out of it. So we'll track the trade. Every sell we can take. The buys will also be caution about them, but sell, I think you can take them. Aussie yen. Okay, so here we are. We did drop, we did break the low. We dropped, we broke the low. This could be the start of the upside. Now, the question is whether we could find a contracting flat in here or whether we can put this with something in the past. And I think, unlike the New Zealand yen, we could make an argument for this being this running flat. right? Because this one is the highest one. You could say this is part of this move. It's very likely, or it could be part of this one, which means you get 1, you get 2, and you get a drop here that finalizes it. All depends on what happens here. This is only a single move. This consolidate here, we will sell to break the low once more, right? It goes back up to the top, we let it come here, and then we start buying for that big move to the upside. I like the fact that this is a sharp move because that helps us. That makes your job easier, right? If the consolidation stays at the top here, we're buying for this move. If this consolidates at the bottom here, we're selling for this move and then up. I hope it consolidates at the top because that makes this move very easy to trade, right? This consolidation here, you're going for that move. So stay at the top and we go for that move. You just have to track it. You don't have to buy this yet. It's not going to move right now. Still have to consolidate, even if it's a running flat. So we leave this open for both sides. Euros. The New Zealand yen doesn't have that structure, right? You notice the New Zealand has this big flat at the bottom here. So it's different. Although we know we're going up, right? We just don't know whether this would come back here. We don't have that on the Aussie yet. It's a little different. So Euros. Okay, they made a new high. We were looking to see whether there'll be a flag there, but they make a new high. So we might be completing this pattern eventually. As we assumed, you got 1, 2, 3 here. You got 1, 2, 3 there. You're getting one more down here for this, and then you'll complete this pattern. And then you probably go back, make a high, and then drop. Right? That was our assumption on Friday, and it seems like it's actually working. So if you get a sell set up here, you're taking it for, we complete this one, you're taking it for this one, right? So we could assume that we complete this one here, right? That's this one. If they come down from there, that's one. We still have to get this. See, there's a flag in there in the 1 hour. See this 1 hour flag here? You need a 1 hour flag there to confirm that it's coming down. Now, we don't know that it's coming down as yet, right? Can it go up one more? Why not? This could go up one more, make a high, and then come down. We're looking for this trade, a drop, a flag, and a drop. So if we get a flag here, we'll sell it. If it goes up one more, let it go, come back, make a flag, sell it. Right, so it's that point where you're looking for that sell setup. Let's see if this makes a flag, we'll sell it. So I'll say wait for a flag, sell. You're in New Zealand. Okay, this is good. If it comes down from this, it would be okay. So this turned out to be one more up, put it to the top. Let's see where we do it. I think we can go with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. That probably completes the entire correction there. If we go like this, we just completed the entire correction. Right? If you go like this and you put this as a flat in the middle here, right? Kind of a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then this 1, 2, 3 just finished. This would be a run expanding or running flat in the middle. Right, so this coming down here back for this level makes sense to me. Let's see if we can get it to come back. It has to break at least, well, not break because we broke the top. We don't have to break the low. We have to come back to about this low and then continue up. If we're right about that, if this is somehow a contracting flat, then this is going to drop much more. Right, let's assume two options. This is a contracting flat. We broke the top and we're dropping. This is a running flat in the middle. This is a running flat in the middle. We're coming back to this level and then go, hey, we have a sell setup. That's pretty clear, right? We have a sell setup. You made a very sharp top and you're making a flag here. Sell, stop above the top. Let it consolidate. It's going to consolidate more, but you want to put a trade now, that's pretty okay. Right? Just put your stop above the top. I think we can wait for this to make a consolidate. This is a one move up. Give it time to consolidate, then put your sell. So we're waiting for a flag here. Put your sell setup. It's going to go up a little more. Consolidate here, make a flag, and then you get a perfect sell setup. Regardless of which of those two patterns are correct. So you can put both of them. I'll put this one and I'll put this one. I'll open it to both of them and see which is correct. One is going to drop much more. One is just coming to this level and then go back up. The risk to reward is good. Euro CAD. The buy was good. It's coming down. We still have to get these two sharp moves out of the way, right? Because this still is a correction. It made the one more up. It's coming down. Are we ready for the sell? Or is it one more up? I'm not expecting one more up, right? We got this, we got this, we got this, we got it. This should come down here now. It might be coming down like this. See this here? See, they started to pull back. So we will look for running flats and sell. Let's see if we get a running flat. If it pull back, we sell it, right? So we'll assume that this is a sharp move. This is the flat. We want this to pull back here, make this. Go for this trade. When it comes here, put it to break even, because if they decide to go back up, we'll get break even in one trade. But if it drops to the bottom, we stay with the trade. So you need the running flat for that. We're still in this range, and I still think they're going to come back down. I don't see the end of the structures yet. So look for a sell setup. Euro Swiss. This could be all the correction. We don't need to actually come back into this one, right? That could be all the correction, and we could be going up. So let's see if we have a flat in here. Nope, we don't. This is a small one. This is a deep pullback. So if you get all of this in here, it will probably just go back up one more, pull back here, get a running flat, and then we buy. So wait for it. Let's see if that proves the running flat. We'll go with the buy. Euro pound. The sell setup here is way too far. We want the sell, but that's a distance away. And it looks like it might not happen too. This is pulling back, so you probably get a correct, you might get an upside first. Right, this will drop here. If anybody took any trade in there, just be cautious when you break this low, because you might start going back up again to retest this stop, make a bigger flat and then drop. Right? If not, wait for it to break out and then sell. Take this out, let it break out, make a flag and sell. If it breaks any flag, we'll sell. I think we're going to go up one more. It's going to be a bigger correction before we go. Okay, pound Swiss is going up. There's a nice buy setup there this morning, but you have a few sharp waves to be worried about. So you got a perfect buy setup here. If anybody took that trade. But you have this to worry about. This one and this one. Can we put that in the past, somewhere in the past? You had a few sharp waves here too. You had this one, you had that one. So, but this consolidation and this consolidation is inside these two, and that is the problem. Right? The consolidations are inside. I don't know if any one of you took that. I don't think you took it already. So it's no trade. Wait for it. If we make a next flag, we'll buy. So we'll assume that this is also making a running flat, right, with these two sharp waves. So if they pull back and go back up, we'll get one more low and then upside. We'll take this as a bigger flat, right? That's an option. So this goes here, start to drop, go back up there. We'll go with that flat, come here and then go back up. So this would be like 1, 2, 3, right, with its own flat in the middle here. Just a bigger consolidation. If it goes out of this structure here and make another flag, we buy. I don't think any one of you are in that flag. This was a nice buy, so we'll go to. This is small. Remember, it can get like this. Not that deep, but it can get bigger, a little bigger. So we'll keep an eye on it. Anybody in the buy? Any one of you guys in the buy already on that flag? It's a nice flag. I would take the buy if it was there. Okay, then we wait on it. We wait for that to stop, make another flag, and then we buy. If it starts to drop, we'll assume it's making the running flat. Pound New Zealand. Let's see if any of the other pound trades. Now this one is confirming it's going to come back down. This is really, really sharp, and there's nothing to go with it here, right? So that's a really sharp move. Can we assume it's this? No, I don't think so. But you know what we can assume? We can assume this to be a running flat. We didn't break the low, right? So if it's a running flat, then they'll just come back deep and then go. If not, we're making a flat here, right? This is the first one. This is likely going to go up. We can expect it to come back here and then take off. So we're making a flat somewhere. Do we have a buy setup in that? Nope, no buy setup. Can we get a sell setup when they break the top? So we're going to assume that this is a D flat. So let this break the top. And then if it pulls back, make a flag. We're going to look for this sell down. Now we're going to be selling this back to the bottom here. So let's see if we get that. Vamos. Also very sharp, but you do have a running flat in the middle. You can make an argument for this. Right, you do have this one. So you can make an argument for that. It goes up, it pulled back, it goes up, it's pulling back. Let's see where we get the buy in it. Relatively in the higher picture, it's very sharp. can we put it with this one? Because this one, remember, we never got a flat. This never really came down to break the low. So, and it's a contracting flat that is not so nice. If we're totally going up, now that you're already at the top, let them break the top first. Let this break out and then make a flag, and then we start buying that flag up. Because it can come back here, make this flat, and then we would go with the contracting flat. I will go with that. So if it comes back, make this flat for upside, we'll probably even get a sell here and then look for the buy. It's upside. The only question is whether it's going to make a bigger correction at this level here before they go. And I think a big correction is due. Probably have divergence. Yeah, we have divergence. So it could come back, make a bigger correction, and then go. So be careful. We're not going to buy at the top there. We'll wait for it to pull back. Try to get it from the bottom. Right? CAD. This one actually is perfect. That's a good breakout, but we never break the top, right? So if you consolidate in here, you have to pull back here. You probably will go break the top. This will be the flat. But if all of this is inside of this, then we're going to come back here for a running flat and then make the next one. So let's see. We can take the first buy. Let's go to 15, see if we can take that. No, don't take this buy anymore. That's gone. This here is gone. It's only going to do this. You still have the sharp one. So let it go there, pull back. And then we try to get this buy up. Try to get this smooth. If they're totally going, and this is all the consolidation, this is a flat inside of it, then we're good. But most likely they'll come here and come back down like this. Right? We could get something like this. But we'll buy this. We'll look for a buy setup. Let it come back down, and then we look for the buy setup. So I'll put buy setup, but not at the top. Let's wait for that buy setup first. Otherwise, the temptation might be thinking to buy at the top there. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay. So at this point, it either will make a new high or it will drop through the structure. See? At this point, we'll either drop, make a new, we'll consolidate here and drop through the structure, or we go back for a new high. Either is good trade. Taking this trade back to the top or taking this trade to the low is good trade. So come back here and keep an eye and see what it's doing. Do we have a trade for either side? You do have a sell setup. It's only valid as of the next hour or two, right? It's only valid if you don't go back all the way to this top here. So as it stands now, it's valid for the sell. Put it to break even. Put an entry somewhere here. Put it to break even, because if you're making 1, 2, 3, it's going to go right back up. Tag you, go right back up, make this flat, and then drop. If we're trying to go up, I think we can make an argument for running flat here, by the way. Yeah, there's a running flat there. If you look back, there's a running flat there. Perfect 1, 2. Okay, this was a flat of its own here. That drop, pull back, you got a flat in the middle here. So you got 1, 2, 3. You got that. This is a good sell. Actually, it's a very good sell. Worst case, you could get break even if they come here and go back up. If it's dropping through the bottom, that's a good trade. Why not take it? Let's see. Put an entry here. Put an entry there. Once it breaks through this low here, we'll get it to break even. So we'll put an aggressive sell on it. Aussie CAD. Okay, we're getting a sell set up here. That's in the 1 hour. That's a good 1 hour flag. Actually, this came down back. Do we have a running flat with it somewhere in the past? I don't like this for the running flat, but that might be the best option we have. And I don't like it, but so far it's the best option you have, right? Because we have this, we have that, we have this, we got this, we got this. This is the only one with a flat in the middle. The rest of them are pretty sharp. But if we're right about that, this is going to drop. So take the trade, go for a break even. I like it. Let's take the trade, go for a break even. That's the worst case we're going with. Put an entry under the last impulse. Use the last impulse on a 15. Put the entry under it so you get an advantage. You get out for break even. The advantage is we could get out for break even. So it's an aggressive sell, but it could be a good trade, which means we're going to break this low and we might drop quite a lot. Let's see, Aussie, Swiss. This is a little more up. This also made a flat here and drop, see. made a flat, came down slow, made a flat drop. So we put it with something in the past. Let's see if we have anything in the past there. They didn't go higher. That was a flag for at least one more higher. They didn't go. Let's see. Nope, nothing. Nothing we can go with. I think this is something of its own. This is one of its own. This is a correction of its own. This here is a correction of its own. It made a low. That's it. So this one is probably going to make a flat. We're going to repeat something like this here. Right, this is the first impulse. It could come down, and it's already coming down. It's going to go back up and then make a big flat. So we don't have a trade. You have a flag here if you want to buy it. It's coming down, but it could make a flag, go back there, maybe come back here, go back up there sharp, and then get a trade. So just leave it. Nothing much to trade there. New Zealand Swiss. Okay, we assume this is 1, 2, 3, and that is 1, 2, 3, and this is coming down. So that was a good sell. You're getting a sell set up here, but more for a flag. There's a small trade on the 15 here. Just leave it alone. Let's wait. Put it on the hourly. Wait for an hourly flag and then sell. So we'll wait for this to make a flag here in the hourly. Kind of do this. And then you can get one drop to this level. Right after which the chances are we're going to go back up. There's a good chance we're going to go back up after that. We're completing this one here. So we'll get a 1, 2, 3 up. A 1, 2, 3 up there and then come down. There's a very small sell set up there. Let's see. New Zealand CAD. Okay, this one completed that flat, so this should be a sell. Let's see what it looks like in the 15. Kind of consolidating here for running flat. You can make an argument for running flat here. Probably come back there and then look for the sell. Let's wait for a sell setup. That's Swiss. Okay, this one is coming down back. So we are going with this one here now, right? It's coming back to this level. I think we're going to come down here. 1, 2, we're looking at this one and this one for the flat, right? So you're looking at this flat here right now. We're looking at 1, 2, 3. So this was a sell. We're getting another sell here. Come back to this level and we're going to go back up. We're going to go back up for this one. So watch this level here and then come down back for this one, right? We draw this on Friday and we say we're going to track it, see if it's working. So far, one is working. And one of them is going. There's a sell set up here. Try to get it from the top. Up. Anybody took that sell? This was the sell from the top. Wait for another flag, sell it. Right, so you got 1, 2, 3. You got 1, 2, and you're getting this. It could come here and go back up and still come, but that would be a break even in that case. But if it drops through, wait for a flag, get this trade here. Trying to get that trade, right? Let's see if we get sell setup. We're waiting for a sell setup. Natural gas. Actually didn't go up, it came down more. They were consolidating there, but then it dropped. So we're still in this. We're still in this one. If you get any sell, it's only one short sell, right? Remember, this is starting to pull back quite a lot. You're at the bottom of this bigger structure. Quite possible this could be the low of it. We don't know exactly where the low is, but we're looking at this one here. We're assuming they could do this. Right, so if they do that, then there probably is a little more to go. It still has a little more to come. This is relatively sharp, and this is consolidating a lot. Wait for it. Don't sell this at the bottom here. Don't sell into this low. If they go back up, then we sell. But try to get it to come back here. If it starts going up, we look for the back setup. Oil. Okay, this broke out too. And now it's coming down. So do we take the sell? We don't have anything for this. So if it's going to be a sell, this has to, and this is relatively sharp too. So this has to consolidate, drop, go back up, give us the sell setup. Perfect. This would be your first impulse down, and this would be all the correction, right? So we'll have to take this and change it because we didn't break the top. So let's put this here, assuming that this is all the consolidation. Remember, all the moves in these are pretty sharp, right? So you looked at them, they're all very sharp moves up. relatively very, look at this one, really sharp, right? So eventually you get running flats. So if this is making another running flat, this has to go back up first. Come here, go back, and then we get that flat and we drop. So let's see if we're gonna get a flat like that. Come here in 15 minutes. It's kind of going up. You can see that it's trying to go up. If we make a flag here and you start to crawl up like this, we'll sell it. Once it gets to this top here, we'll start selling. We'll sell this one, it'll go back up again, we'll sell again. So let's see. I don't know if we want to buy this unless you get a really good flag and assume that it's going to come back that high. Because we don't know what the running flat would look like. A long drawn out running flat or a regular running flat at the top here. So better to let it go up and look for the sell. This would be the same, right? This is the top, they didn't break out. See, take out that. So to make a sharp move, start to consolidate. They did break this top. We closed it and we put the entry above this one. That was in the news, and then it came down. So what we're going to do is watch this go back up. This one didn't break the low. See, we didn't break this low. So this is not a running flat in the making. This broke the low. See the difference? So no, that was, yes, that's this one. So this one didn't break the low. We're gonna keep track of what this one is doing. Right? If it comes back to the top, it's a sell. Same thing, we'll take this out now because if they consolidate here, we take that out. They'll have a lot of sharp waves as usual. See, we're still in this. So can it drop from this level, come down? Yeah, they can do that. Wait for the flag and sell. Let's wait for a flag. We don't have a complete flag there. This is a single sharp move, so they'll probably get more. Let's see. S&P 500. Okay, that just went up there and pulled back. Hope you're not tagged in that. When did that happen? Friday afternoon? But if you are, then just wait for this to go back up, close the trade. If you didn't take the stop here, right? What would this be? Well, we already have one running flat, so we'll assume we're making another running flat. Right? We already have this running flat. So the assumption, if you get this sharp wave up and you're coming down back, you're making another running flat. Now, how long drawn out will this be? We don't know. So this becomes a sell, right? If we get it to sell, it could do this, it could do this, it could do this, and then you get this. Right? Look how long we take to get this one. Look how many drops you had. Right? This one, this one, this one, this one. Then look for sell setups. Pretty simple. And hope it becomes a really long drawn out running flat. Now this could work if we are back. Yeah. Not a buy. Definitely not a buy. We're going to look for a flat or running flat. In either case, it's a sell. It's a sell. Right, this one didn't break out too. So that would either be a loss here, or you wait for this to pull back and you close the trade if you're taking. So this was the flat. So that's a 1, 2, 3. And this here would be the same. Well, this one we didn't do anything. Take that off. This never broke the low. So I think we'd have to relook at this one. And this might be the clue for all of them as a flat here. Which means this is going to be a running flat in the future. Right? But we never broke that low. I think somebody asked about it Friday and said it could be a flat. So this is a really good sell setup because now we're thinking flat. Right? This you can actually put the entry order here right now. Because we're thinking flat on this. And that's a sell. So let's see if this drops through the bottom and then it starts to go like this. It could pull back like this at some point. But we're not going to put that as a running flat because we didn't break the low. So this is the best one so far. Let's see if all of them follow this pattern and then we'll change the running flats. Next. Yep. This could be the idea too, that if you get a sell here, you can take the trade. If this starts to drop, you want the sell. This would be a good sell here. If it goes back to the top here, we'll take it off. But as it stands right now, if they consolidate here, that's a sell. Now, remember, we didn't break the top, so we're assuming it's a contracting flat. That doesn't mean it can't go up more, right? If they actually go back to the top here and, do this, we'll still look for the sell. We'll go with a regular flat. If it consolidates here, go for the sell. Nifty. If you got tagged, close the trade. You want to put an entry order higher, maybe above. Wait to see whether it consolidates, then put it higher. Don't wait for it to come back. It's going to come back. It's making some kind of a weird consolidation here. See this? We wanted a flag here. It didn't give, this was supposed to be a sharp move. Stop, pull back. That means you're making some other consolidation. Wait for it to finish and then we take the trade. Okay, Bitcoin looks like they're going to drop more. Let's see if we get any. We're looking for the possibility of it being this, right? So in Bitcoin, you're looking for the possibility of this happening, but they pull back pretty sharp. See, so it's not a flag. That buy setup is not valid, which means can it actually still drop more here? Yep, we can come and still. We broke the low once. We can break it again, right? That doesn't mean it's the end of the structure. You don't get a setup. We don't have a setup for a buy. So now we wait. This one, we could still possibly get a setup for a buy here. See, if this goes back up to the top here and come back here, if we see a consolidation in this range, that's still a buy setup. So that would probably take a day or two to figure out whether you're making consolidation there for the buy. Remember the last method, this one doesn't have to break the low. This one could literally go up from here and climb back to the top to this level. And from that point, we'll figure out if this is a flat or if it's taking off or if it's coming back down. Both of those are true. So we'll see which one is going to happen. OMG. Okay, we broke the low. We need a flag. We might get ourselves a flag here. This would be a buy setup. This one is coming up nicely. I like this. I like this actually, because then we have to get this. And as soon as you get this, you put an entry here. If it keeps going down, you will not be in the trade. If it goes up, that's your trade. Now, if it goes up and it starts to pull back, we'll put an entry to sell. So basically, if you want to understand how we're going to trade these, if you manage to watch all the way to this level on YouTube, and you want to understand how we're going to trade these, you could join us in the live session next week, or you could join us in the installment program or join the group, whichever you choose, you're going to get it. We'll watch this to probably go up like that. We want to exclude this possibility first before we come down. And if they keep going up, good for you. You're in for a big move. This would give you enough to exit that trade for positive. Let's see if it happens. I like this one actually. I like the setup at the bottom here. So let's keep an eye on it. We're looking, it came back pretty much to the top and then it go up. I even want them to break the top first. I want this to literally break that top first and then come back here, make a running flat. The confidence in that trade is much higher. Let's go XRP. I'm going to go really fast. XRP. I don't think we have anything here. It's coming back here. Maybe it's going to even break, come back to this low and then go. It's upside too. LTC. We're going back up. Let me see something. Let's assume this one does not belong to that one. Let's take this out. All right, because this was the top. Let's assume that this one belongs to this. All right, let's go with that. Then this could be making a separate one here of its own, right? This is we drop, you drop to this level here. You make a sharp move. You came down back. So this would have to belong to this. I don't think we're making anything here in the future. This is looking like it's going up, right? So you can take with this here. All right, this is a drop. Go there, come here, and this is part of this consolidation. We did break the low here. So can this go back up? So this would be a 1, 2, 3 if you look at it this way, right? It could be a 1, 2, 3 and go back up. Let's see here now. Why not? This could be a 1, 2, 3 here. This piece, 1, 2, 3. We could go back up again like this. Not the best structures, but it's possible. So I'll still wait. I wouldn't put that as yet. I'll wait to see whether this consolidate and drop some more. The best thing for us is if it's not a 1, 2, 3 and you actually go down back, right? So the best option is if this just consolidates here, drop, consolidate, drop, break this low, and then start to go back up. Breaking the low and then starting the up move is what we want, right? That's a safest trade you're going to get. Let's see. Dodge. This will go up a little more, but then it's going to drop. So you might get this consolidation here. Make a spike there and then come down. That would be better for us. If they make a flag and drop more, they'll still do this eventually and then come down. So don't trade that as yet. Okay, this will make one more low. You can already make that assumption because you're making a flag in here. It's going to drop, pull back, make a flat, drop again, and then we look for the buy. But we don't have a buy set up. Link. you could make an argument here for one more up. Right, if this pulls back here, you get this, you go one more up there, make this flat, and then come back here. Right, so just like one more up there and then come down back. We broke the low, right? This actually did break the low. See, they dropped, they broke the low here, and it's going back up. So is that all, or is it going to drop lower? Right, it could still go lower than that low, but we did break the low. So if we get a buy setup, we'll take it. Do we have a buy setup? Let's go into 1 hour. Well, you had this buy setup, and that would be break even. So take that out. So if this turned out to be a buy, if it comes here, start to go back up, you'll take this as a 1, 2, 3, a consolidation, go back up. So this trade here would be a buy setup. Short term, at least. Again, if it doesn't go, you close the trade. Let's see this. Yeah, we finally broke that low. What is the low? Yeah, you should look for a sharp impulse back like this. As if we have a buy setup. Absolutely, we're getting a buy setup. So you're getting a consolidation in here. You're going to do this. Be aware that it could pull back like this and then go. So if you put an entry here, remember, you're not buying these as spot trade short term, you're buying them long term, right? Don't put a stop here. Just keep, you're not supposed to buy them with leverage, right? So you can put an entry here. It will tag you and pull back. The reason you may want to put the entry here, well, it might tag you and just keep doing this and then pull back here, right? For this running flat. But what if it tags you, pull back? Don't survive this one. And when it go back up, then you put it to break even. Right, so I think this is a buy. We broke the low. So a few of them have buy setups. I think you can put, I didn't put them, but I think you guys, we mark a few of them that have buy setup. We should have marked them. I didn't. Can this be a buy setup? Did we break the low? No, we didn't break the low, but this looks like it's trying to go back up at least like this. So you do have buy setups. I just don't think they're going to go very far because we haven't broken the low. So we're still going up, but that's a buy setup. Let's see this. Oh, that's the one we were on. Let's see dash. It broke this low, and did we break the entire low? Yeah, we did break the entire low. We actually broke through this low. Yeah, we broke through that one, but did we break? What is the bigger one now? What's that bigger one? Oh, that bigger one is coming to break the entire low of the whole structure, right? Of this whole correction here. So if they do break that, that will be a big move to the upside. If they go back here now, it could just be a deep pullback. Right, if this goes back up, it'll just be a deep pullback. Let's see in the 1 hour if we're going up. Yep, you might get a pullback here. But in a 4 hour, 1 hour is not so good. But in a 4 hour, if this pulls back, you get a trade. If this pulls back here and you get this flat here, you'd go with that trade. One more impulse up. At least one more impulse up. And then from there, you don't know how high it's going to go. This thing does make some sharp impulses sometimes. Right, so I think it's worth going with. We did break the lows, so you get a buy setup ticket. So a number of the cryptos have buy setups. We'll keep track of them if you are trading any one of them, and then we'll see what happens from there. So guys, remember this will be on YouTube. Don't forget to, if you do have a minute of your time, go like it, share it, leave a comment. I'll see all of you in the London session. Take care. See you in the London session. Bye. Thanks for being here.